What's up, guys? Welcome back. Another episode of Rest Day on time today, right on point 7:30. Just like I said I'd be, I hope everyone's having a great week. This week, going to talk about the biggest week I've ever put together last week. I know we've been saying that a lot every single week. This is the biggest week I've had, the biggest week until the next pullback. Every week is probably going to be the biggest week that I had. But I think more importantly is the increase in vert that I've been putting together. So I definitely want to talk about that. If you are here with us live on YouTube, as we are every single Monday night, please leave any questions you have inside the chat. Give the stream a thumbs up just so YouTube will promote it to other people. And hey, if you haven't subscribed yet, please, I beg you, like to try and get to 1,000 maybe by the end of the month by my birthday. That'd be kind of sweet. If you have any questions, leave them in the chat. But if you're listening to this later on, maybe on a streaming device, Spotify, one of those things, or even here on YouTube, join us every single Monday night, roughly 7:30, 7:45, depending on how early my kids get to bed. All right. So let's dive in and talk exactly about what's going on. And I got to say, like, I've I've been having like a roller coaster of emotions over the last couple of weeks, and we've talked about it here on the podcast and things like that. But this week was as most like level even keeled as I've been, and I had pretty much like one blow up day. I've been having like one day a week where I just have an emotional breakdown. I don't know what's causing it, but we'll talk about what that one day exactly was. Very, very brief, just for the people that have not been around. I'll let you know kind of like what the last 3 weeks have looked like, both on a time aspect and also on a mileage and elevation, because that's really what we've been focusing on. So going back to the week of February 5th, so pretty much like Super Bowl week, 14 hours, 68 miles ran, and 5,000 feet. We then went to 13 hours, 60 miles, and did 9,000 feet. Then we had the week of the 19th. I think that was probably last week. We did 72. We got 9,315 feet with a little over 16 hours. And I said going into this week, as I mentioned at the end of last week's episode, that 10,000 was going to be the goal, right? I definitely had mileage goals of 76 miles, which would be my biggest week. But really, the vert and getting to 10,000, I was so close, like 92, 9,300 feet. I really, really wanted that 10,000 feet. So that was the primary focus for the entire week. And we ended up getting there. This week, 16 hours, 24 minutes, 76.1 miles ran, 10,226 feet of elevation gain, most of which was outside. I have been mixing between the tread and outside, but last week, most of my feet, I want to say 8,000 of those 10 were outside. So I did get that vert outside. So the beauty of that is also getting that downhill, because the tread does not offer me any sort of downhill. And on top of all of that, pulled something out of my ass yesterday on Sunday when I got back out to the road, which we'll talk about in just a few shakes of a lamb sale. So here's how the week broke down. And also I'll mention too, really, really quick, I released a video on this channel, like a long form of the whole weekend, kind of like a back-to-back long run video. That people have really been asking for, like, what does the weekend look like? So I did that whole vlog video, and that's going to be live on the channel today. So please give that check out as well if you're into that sort of thing. And I really do want to focus this episode on the back-to-back and really the benefits that I've seen, because it's the one major difference between, this past couple of training cycles into this one is really how I've embraced the back-to-back long run. Jacob in the chat, buddy, you steamrolled last week. Thanks, pal. I'm glad that you took your foot off the gas for 1 week and allowed my ego to, boost up a little bit. And, and it's funny when you pulling back for you, I think you ran like 60 miles and, man, killed it. And I know that you're going into a race this week. I'm really looking forward to seeing you race this weekend in Jersey, and I'll be there with the kids, and my wife is going to be there racing alongside with you. What we're going to talk about, I have no idea how I'm going to juggle this week. and be able to get all my miles in. But we'll get to that. Let's not put the cart before the horse. Let's talk about this week's run. So on Tuesday, I did 11 miles. I'll bring up the schedule just so you guys can see. Like I said, I know this is small and it is what it is, but let me just share a screen here. Window, share. Beautiful. All right, so let's go in. We had hilly, easy run prescribed. So I got 2,052 feet over 11 miles. So not a bad run. Average heart rate 121. This is the beautiful thing. I'm finding that with these vert days, my heart rate is in fact staying low. So 11:20 pace is not terribly slow for me, but it is on the slower side. So having that 121 heart rate was really, really nice. On Wednesday, we got 9 miles in, another 500 feet. This was just supposed to be an easy run. Didn't really want to focus too much on the vert side. So we didn't really look that much, but I still got 500 feet. Thursday was my one day of the week where I couldn't pull together. There is, one day a week that I mentioned that I go into just a complete temper tantrum. I don't know what it is. Late bloomer runner. I did start a little early. Anytime between 7:30 and 8, I try and get on. But today the stars aligned for me and I was able to get on right at 7:30. So I apologize. You haven't really missed that much. But this was one of those days on Thursday, and I think maybe this could be a talking point, or for somebody else that's going through the training. Some days you just don't want to run, and you're like, "Screw this! I am not going to run." And I called coach, and I was like, "Coach, I'm not going to run today." And I'd heard him say this to other athletes, and I've heard him say this on podcasts before, that when you're feeling like that, just try and get moving. Just try and start the run, see what happens, and then see if, things start to change or if, things get better sometimes when we get moving. So I told myself I had 11 on the schedule and I needed to get a little bit of elevation. And I'm like, I'm just going to start rolling. I'm going to feel better after 3 miles. I'm going to shake off this day. There's just a lot of stuff that's been going on. I don't know. I don't think it's national news, definitely local news, but the trail that I run in every single day, they found remains on that trail scattered all amongst the trail system and things like that. So it was closed for a couple of days, still just like a little bit weird. So that kind of threw everything off. It was just one of those days. And I got 5 miles in and I'm like, this is not working. I'm not feeling any better. And there becomes a time where you're doing these things and you have to realize that, all right, you tried to get the workout in, but now they're just going to become junk miles. And I'd gotten 773 feet at that time. And I was like, all right, I'm going to be okay with being down 5 miles. I knew I would make the mileage up because I've gone through this before where I just wasn't feeling it. And I knew that later in the week when I was feeling okay, I would make up those 3 miles. So I got 6 miles in, 773 feet more of vert. And I just pretty much just called that a day. And I called coach and I was like, hey, I tried to get moving. I got 6 miles in and it just wasn't working out for me, bud. Like I just can't do it today. And he's like, that's okay. Now, if I didn't have a coach, I would have really, really felt bad about that workout. Like I hate missing workouts. And he was like, you're good, bud. And like, that's the great thing about a coach. They keep you out of your own way. Hilly easy run on Sunday. So I got 11.7 miles in when I had prescribed 10. So I got another 971 feet just in the trail system. This was actually one that I did during my lunch break. And there you can see I got 1.7 miles. So I'm already thinking like, all right, I have to make up some miles from Thursday. Like it wasn't a hard stop at 10. I knew that I could chip away. And I pushed a little bit harder, 10-minute pace, 132 average heart rate. And like I said, that's because I was at lunch and I really, really wanted to get as much work as I could done during that lunch period. It was my brother's birthday on Friday. I knew he was coming over and it was going to be a tough afternoon. So that was the week so far leading into that. So we have roughly 20, 31, about 37 miles going into the weekend. And that's when I started the back-to-backs. Now, I will say that a couple things about my discussions with coach going into this weekend. Last weekend, I had 25 miles on the schedule, 24 miles on the schedule. And that workout took me 6 hours because I was trying to get a ton of vert. And I pretty much called him and I was like, hey, I just need to know, is that vert or that amount of time, do you want me on my feet for 6 hours every weekend? If you do, let me know. But I've heard so much about like capping long runs and things like that. I just talked to him like, hey, like, what do you want the plan to be? I got 20 on the schedule, blah, blah, blah. And really what he said was that he wanted me to get a little bit more vert during the week so that I did not have to pack on the vert on the weekends. And he said, if we can, he definitely didn't want me out there for 6 hours every single week. But he said, 4.5 hours is very, very realistic. Maybe every other weekend or every third week, we'll go into those steep things. So he told me, find a route that's a little more runnable. Like he wanted that nice 125 to 150 feet per mile, as opposed to the 300 to 500 feet that I had done the previous week when I was really trying to like get all my mileage done in just one little weekend. So I found a little bit more rolling section, something that I could run with a little bit higher pace and that I could still get a fair amount of vertical gain, but not be out there all day. So this effort on Saturday, and this is the first part of that video that I posted today on the channel, pouring rain, absolutely downpour, but warm for the time of year. It was like 50 degrees. I knew the trails were going to be sloppy, but if you know me, I've run in the rain before. It's kind of like my specialty. I got 3 hours and 51 minutes of moving time. I think my overall time was just about 4 hours. So 8 hours of like aid station and porta potties and things like that. I got 20 miles in, just under 8,000 feet, 8,000, just under 3,000 feet, 2,792 feet, 11:35 pace. So not that like power hiking. 14-minute pace is kind of where I'm at for the higher 300 to 500 feet per mile. I'm usually averaging about 14s right now for a 20 to 25 mile run, but I was able to get it down to 11:35 in the rain. Love that. Heart rate still super low, 132. Very, very happy about how my aerobic fitness is progressing, and just the overall speed that I'm gaining through the confidence in the trails. I'm just feeling so much better inside the trails. And I also was really looking forward to the next day on Sunday. But as I mentioned, like life gets in the way. My daughter had a gymnastics competition, birthday parties, lacrosse practice, a swim sign up. And my wife is also training for a 50K on the same day. Don't ever train for the same race on the same day with your spouse. But the next day I had to come out and I had to get 15 miles on the schedule, but I knew that I only had about 3 hours. So if we can see the time that I started this, 4:52. The second part of that video I posted today, I got up way before dawn, got out to the trails, and I did a little bit of the steeper section. So we can see over those 10 miles, I got 3,000 feet. All right. So we're looking at that 300 feet per mile pace, super slow. Reason for that, the rain the previous day just annihilated the trails. They were just in terrible shape. And in the dark, I slow down from 14 to 17. So for the first hour and a half of this, it was very, very dark, very, very wet, and very, very slow. Let's see if we can see if the pace changed. Let me see. I can get rid of these, hide this, hide my heart rate. You can see the pace definitely like got a little bit faster in some sections the longer on than I did. But yeah, I'm okay with that long day. That's not that big of a deal. And I'm okay with that pace. But I knew that I had 5 miles to make up here. And then I also had some miles left over from Thursday. And I had 8 miles to go. So I went out and I did 8 more miles. But look at this one. Okay, this is the good one. Hold on, I gotta get a drink of water quick. If you have any questions, guys, small crowd tonight, but thank you guys so much for being here. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section. I'd really, really appreciate it. Oh my gosh, I'm so thirsty, so thirsty. All right, look at it. This is fun. I guess these are like the little things that make you so happy after a while. First off, let's look at these peak performances. Boom, boom, boom. So these are a bunch of distance as well as heart rates. Second second 1 minute heart rate for the last 90 days. Number one 5 minute heart rate for the last 90 days, 161. You could tell I don't go anaerobic or even high heart rate very often. 153 for 10 minutes. 149. That's a third highest 20-minute heart rate for the last 90 days. But we can also see my all-time numbers. Fastest mile. That's my third fastest mile, 6:29. I'll talk about that in 1 second. My third fastest 5K of all time during this run, 22 minutes, 48 seconds. My fastest 5 mile run ever, 36 minutes, 59 seconds. And I PR'd my 10K at 46:46, a 7:32 pace. So what exactly happened during this run? I have found that in the past, when I really like put like a mile test or a 5K test or a 10K test on the schedule, it kind of just freaks me out. And with this zone 2 primarily that I've been doing, I don't push hard at all. I don't really like have time in my schedule to go out and just bang out a mile. And especially like it definitely stresses the body a little bit differently. But I got out yesterday. It was 60 degrees. First time this year in shorts and a t-shirt. And I just got out and I immediately just felt really, really good. And after the last 3 weeks of just being in the trails and getting vert, and I haven't been on the road and I haven't been on flat in almost 3 weeks. And I felt fast. Like I was thinking to myself, wow, this is my biggest volume week ever. I have the most vert. My legs should be screwed, but I just felt good. And I got about a mile in, and I talk about it inside the video that I posted today, that I was like, I'm just going to try and bust a mile. Like, I just kind of want to know what my mile is. And I had a straight stretch of road, which I knew was greater than a mile. So I knew I wasn't going to have to make any turns. And I just went for it. And I got 6:29 on that mile. And that mile surpassed my weekly mileage. So last week was the most miles I ever ran at 74. So when I knew I was at 74 miles for the week, I wanted that 75th mile to be a burner. I wanted to go for it. And 6:29 for a guy that has a lifetime PR of 6:15 that I knew was on a downhill course, I couldn't have been happier. And then usually like when I test that out, that was like mile 3 of the run. Usually like I'll pull it back a little bit, but I just felt good. And the heart rate was still pretty low, all things considered, for the whole entire workout. For the whole entire workout, which I averaged 7 minutes and 45 seconds per mile, my average heart rate for the run was still 144, which is like just touching zone 3 for me. So when I got out of that mile and the heart rate was still low, I was like, I'm just going to keep going. I had no intentions of going for the 5K, 10K, none of those. I wanted to hit the mile hard and I wanted to have a nice pace. But I really just felt good. And I just got home and I knew that I did good on the mile. And I was telling my wife about the mile. And then I looked on Strava and I was like, you just PR'd your 10K. I was like, no. Because I knew when I PR'd my 10K in August, it was in the Hood to Coast. And Jacob, if you're still here, I had the second leg of the Hood to Coast, which is literally down Mount Hood, like almost too steep downhill that you can't open it up. And I ran a 46:48, but I thought it was so much faster than that. I thought to myself yesterday, there is no way that I PR'd a mile into the wind after all that vert with all these miles on a flat course and went faster than I did on the first leg of Hood to Coast in August. Well, I was wrong. And it goes to show once again, I avoided that crazy leg. Yeah, no, it's nuts. It's almost like you're falling downhill. I am such a zone 2 fanboy. You know this. And I never really open it up. I never do speed work. It's just not there. But it goes to show how much having an aerobic motor is just overall great for your VO2 max. And it's great for your threshold. I don't need to do speed work to know that I've gotten faster. That was the fastest that I've run. Like, look at all those 90-day PRs. Like, that's 3 months. So really, since November, when I did the New York City Marathon, I haven't pushed over zone 2 really. Like maybe a couple climbs, I pushed my heart rate and it hit like 155. but I haven't hit the like, I don't even know when's the last time I hit like a 160 heart rate. Let me see if I can compare this. Hold on. I don't know. Maybe I'm talking out my rear end. So the last time this was on 224, I hit 159 for that. And then the other one, but you guys, this is my heart rates over the last 90 days. And you can see this line right here is 155. This is 150. So I never, ever go over 150. Very, very rare. And then I blasted that out. So it made me even more confident on the work that I'm doing, that I'm not just doing ultra marathon work. I am also increasing my top end speed. Now, granted, if I was doing speed work, would I be faster? Yes. But for a guy that never, literally never runs out of zone 2, I'm pretty happy running a 46-minute 10K. Call me crazy. You know, I'm pretty okay with blasting out a 1 mile, third fastest lifetime mile at the end of the week I just had. Those are okay. I'm going to continue. There's no need for me to feel like I need speed work when I'm doing that. I don't need to run a 6-minute mile. I'll take 6:26 at the end of a 75-mile week all day. I will take 6:26 at the end of climbing almost 1,100 feet, 11,000 feet all day. Lee Boomerun says to me, amen to that. My wife is always amazed how fast I can run a race and spend. Yes. It's like, I don't know what I can run. If I showed up to a local 5K, I don't know what my time would be. But I remember like drunk Brad that would show up to local 5Ks with like a little bit of fitness and run 28, 29 minutes and be like, cool. Like, dude, I could probably run a 20-minute 5K right now. Maybe 21 minutes, between 20 and 21 minutes, and never run hard. Zone 2 for the win. And furthermore, like when I was pushing that mile, that 626, 627 mile, yeah, my heart rate came up into the 150s. But then as soon as I brought it down, my heart rate drops immediately. Like as soon as I stop requesting like my heart to give me more blood, it just says, okay, we'll relax now. Oh, we're done with that? Okay, cool. I'm going to go back to chilling. And yeah, I just, the mile I was happy with, but when I got the 10K, oh, and then I got to show you this. This is funny too. This says I couldn't come up 0.25 short. So I got back from that 8-mile run, looked at my mileage. I had 76 on the calendar, and I think I had 75.75. So I went out and I ran around the block just to get that out of the way. So that was last week. Like I said, 16 hours, 24 minutes, 76 miles, the most miles I've ever ran. We got third best mile time, PR 10K, PR 5 mile, third fastest 5K of all time, a 4 a.m. run after back-to-back weekends, a run in the pouring rain. Guys, I am fired up. And I'm speechless. Like I really don't know how to explain how fired up I am. But with that excitement comes the reality that it's time to go back to work, right? That all means nothing this week. This week, we have a whole new set of challenges. 80 miles on the calendar this week, going up to 80. All right. 74 was the most I've ever ran. 76 was the most I ever ran. We're going to come back next week and we're going to talk about how 80 was the most miles I've ever ran in a week. And coach wants me to get 12,000 feet of vert. As we can see on the tops of the calendar there, getting rain pretty much every day. I have a 25-mile run that's planned for Saturday, but I'm going to go watch my wife race and watch Jacob race. I have no idea how I'm going to pull that 25-mile together. I'm probably going to have to mix it in, maybe like switch it with Thursday and do like a late night run on Thursday and then just squeeze in 10 on Saturday. I really have no idea because that he wants me to get a lot of feet that day too. So that's going to be like a good 6-7 hour effort. And then we're going to see where we're at then. Like you could see, I don't have anything planned after that. Okay. Coach usually throws it up Monday or Tuesday. I wouldn't be surprised if these weeks show up tomorrow, but we are looking at this is the greatest thing ever, base recovery week. All right. So let's see what that says. This is meant to be maintain your base, but focus on recovery. Going to be looking forward to that. I don't want to delete that. I want to cancel that. But then here's rim to rim. Like we're right there. So I have a feeling like I told him that rim to rim is there. Rim to rim is important, but it's not a race. It's not something I need to taper into or out of. So I think I'm going to get my recovery. If I know him, he'll probably pull me back into the mid 60s, I would say. And then I have a feeling this is going to be like an 85. This is going to be like an 85 and then maybe a 90 and then a pullback before we get ready for the big one. Not that far away. I think we're 8 weeks away. People have been asking me a lot, like what I thought about the peak. I don't know if we're going to hit 100 and I don't really care, to be honest. I don't care. Because I feel that good. I think rim to rim is going to be an amazing test. It's going to be a way for me to see how I can handle that. My coach is actually going out to do rim to rim to rim. He told me on the 16th of March. So he's going out in 2 weeks. So he's going to get some recon for me. Let me know exactly what the trails are like and anything I need to bring. And yeah, I'm fired up. And that's really all I got to say about that. So if anybody have any questions, like I said, we have a light crowd here tonight. And that's all good. If there are no questions, I'm gonna go continue the recovery, and like I said, look forward to how I can knock this week out. If you are in the Northeast or something like that, and you want to see Jacob win a race because he's probably gonna win it, or he's humble. Jacob's gonna be like, I'm just going out. It's just training. It's part of my long back-to-back weekend. But if you're in the Northeast, Squatch Apple, we're going to be out there having a good time on Saturday. I tried to sign up last minute, and there's a wait list. So I don't think – oh, yeah, nope. Yeah, I'm not going to win. So I can't race because of it's closed. Unless you know the RD and can get me in. Yeah, I can't race. So thanks so much for being here, guys. Quick episode, but I guess I will just end with like the back-to-back just to recap kind of the weekend or the video that I made. Consider those back-to-backs for nutrition, for gear, for changing your terrain, for changing the time of day of when you exercise. Use them to navigate life. If you're busier one day than the next, but you still need to get a ton of volume in, that all of the things they help. Yeah, dude, these guys are talking about this race over in the chat. I that's another reason why I probably shouldn't race. I don't know what that means. If I'm in a race, I'm running. Like, I'm not disciplined enough to call it. I don't know how you're going to do it. But then again, like your training run is still pretty freaking fast. So we'll see. All right, guys, quick episode tonight. Thank you so much. I'll catch you next week. I'll try and give more of a notice. I know it's a little bit early today, but yeah, take it easy. I'm going to go enjoy the rest of this evening. I'll see you next time. If you want some more, go check out the video I posted today, please. I'd really appreciate it. If you left a comment on there, let me know you watched it. All right, take it easy.